finishes here in the next 6 weeks, and we've been a little bit slower. It's up in Woodland Hills, which is a slower market because it's so far away, but it's a $2 million spec home, and I'm hoping that we've got a lead that's pretty close on pulling the trigger on writing an offer. So
Wow, went so well for it, right?
I made third, what was it? I put 160 in and I pulled $54,000 out in 12 and 10, 11 months. So I made over 30% of my, just hair over, but about 30% of my money in 10 months, 11 months. So it's pretty good. So yeah. So hoping we rinse and repeat on this one.
He made fun too.
Yeah. We do a builder, a profit sharing agreement on it. So we split 50-50, which is kind of cool. So that's how he's built a bunch of specs is he's fundraised a bunch of money from different group of people, and then he'll just split profit 50-50 with those that are in it. And so there's ones where you haven't made as much money. The spread's probably on average, he's probably 12 to 30% is kind of the range that you end up in from him building. So yeah, it's from that cannon yesterday. Explosion that went off. Is there a clicker or anything? I'm gonna use some of this material, but
When you're like, will you send me material? I'm like, oh crap. And I looked and I'm like, oh, I have something.
well, I didn't know what you had, so I usually I run these probably a little different than some. I saw Angie Fisher's got a pretty dialed in. Um, she's got a pretty dialed in slide deck with all of her stuff, so I'm a little less slide decky, I guess, and more just. Do you think we're waiting for anybody else? Should we get started? Okay. Well, I would love maybe to kick it off. I'd love maybe for you guys to introduce yourself, how long you've had your license, why real estate, what you did prior. Is that okay? Just so we can get to know each other a little bit, and I'll share a little bit about me and how long I've been in the business and my background too. Does that work? Should we start back here and then work our way to the front?
For this, I was like,
Cool. Okay. Why real estate?
like, I've always wanted to flip homes, things like that. So kind of aligned more with what I was trying to do in the future. And so like, it'll be a good way for me to grow. So
Cool. Okay. Well, welcome. Good to meet you. Just go here.
actually, my license for your people.
Okay.
I came on with Jennifer Jorgensen as her admin. So that's what I've been working at. So that's pencil and anything that I've been working with admin. So just moved into that side of it. We moved back to Utah like 4 years ago and actually ran into her trying to find a home for my daughter. And I've been in the education world all my life, taught school in the administration side of it. And I just didn't want to start over in Utah.
Yeah.
And she was like, that worked for me. And I'm like, and I'm in a position to just kind of ease into it.
Yeah.
So, but I just like this whole experience to me is like something totally new.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I've, in my 50s, and I'm like, it's really cool to be learning all this new stuff and starting into a totally different place.
Cool. Well, good job. Jen's awesome. So you couldn't be connected to somebody. Yeah.
Just all kind of
Working out. Yeah. Awesome. Well, good. I'm glad you're here.
I'm from Argentina, the US about 5 years ago. I just finished business school, and I mainly wanted to do this so that I can be also a stay-at-home mom with my kids. And yeah.
Cool. Good job. Well, welcome. Thanks for being here.
I'm Casey Bowen. I have had my license since 2003. Mostly I've just worked with developers like New Home Sales for Richmond, Pulte, or Delaware, or one of those guys. I did that through the early 2000s to about 2010, 2011. I never have done the realtor side of it. And as I'm starting my own construction company and development, I know that I need to get and understand this side of the business as well. So I activated my license back in March of last year, but I haven't done anything because I've been building apartments for the last 3 years. I built 56 unit apartment complex in Ogden, just finished recently. And one in Moab and one in the mixed use building up in Pinnacle.
Cool.
I've been mostly a construction guy for the last decade.
Okay. Well, cool. Cool. My name's Cody Thorup. I am currently the director of sales for the Red Sign team. So we are one of the bigger teams here within the KW world and in this office. My background, I've had my license for 11 years. My background is I spent 10 years in construction. I ran a construction company. It was a family business. We were small, but main focus was concrete, but we did a lot of remodels, a lot of commercial projects. I did stuff all over the West in the oil fields in North Dakota for years, worked in Montana, Nevada. We did a little bit of everything. So along the way, I was flipping homes. I'd flip a couple houses every year. And then I started a wholesaling and flipping business out of Maryland. As Utah's grown and things have appreciated, the market has become tougher for flips and the margins became tighter. So in 17 or 18, I met a guy out of Maryland. So we partnered up and started a business in Maryland, wholesaling and flipping homes. So I did that remotely. I'd run all of our contracts and tied deals up, and then he was boots on the ground. So we'd cherry pick the deals we wanted to flip, and we'd wholesale the rest of them off. So I did that for years. And then in 2020, I got out of construction and into real estate full time and started selling. I sold my business in Maryland. And then in 2022, I ended up taking this role as the director of sales for Red Sign team. So we did 3.1, almost 3.2 million in GCI last year, 225 deals closed. We do a little bit of everything. So commercial, residential, we represent 3 custom builders. We represent developments. So we're pretty widespread in what we'll do as a team and kind of the dynamic that we are at this point. So which is fun. One of our top producers went down and bought the St. George office. So we expanded last year down in Southern Utah, which is exciting. And so we're just continuing to grow and things. And so it's been fun. Real estate is, I changed careers or got out of construction just because I love, construction was very transactional. You know, we'd got to go do a job. It was great. Money was great. I made good money. But real estate's fun because you have the opportunity to nurture and grow relationships with people and stay in contact more. And so I really like that aspect of it. I also like the aspect of helping them purchase, their biggest asset that they'll own. And so that's a fun dynamic too, is helping the people find the perfect home or sell a house to get to the next place. And what that looks like is exciting. So I still sell 15 to 20 deals a year myself personally. So I'm still in the day-to-day sales world as well. So I coach, train, recruit for Red Sign and run the day-to-day business side, but I still will sell as well. So I love real estate, so it's fun. I own rentals here. I own a 29 unit apartment complex in Georgia. We have a real estate fund in Georgia where we own 70 doors there. So it's a little bit of everything. So it's exciting. I run things maybe a little different than some instructors. So I would love to open up first and just ask. So today, Cameron's asked me to teach on database and 36 touch. So one thing I think we do really well as a team, and I don't have as many slide decks and things because we have a full-time marketer. So, but I'll explain kind of the sales side of why we do it, what the purpose is, and how you set up a database to be successful. So we'll talk about that. But is there anything else that you guys would find valuable for me to touch base on today? We've got an hour. I want to make sure you guys get the most out of it. I am happy to be an open book. It doesn't have to be just database and 36 touch. If there's something on your mind right now you guys want to touch base on or pick my brain, let me have it. What do you got? I'll open it up for a second. If you've got anything that you would love for me to touch base on, what would it be?
I think for me, now as we are brand new agents, and then we see people like you who are very successful. But at some point you were in our shoes too, right? So when you were in our shoes, what were the things that worked for you so that we can?
Okay. So first deal. I'm going to put lead gen. Okay, that's a good one. What else? It's okay if you guys don't have anything either. If you think of something along the way, you can raise your hand. Well, give me at least one. What do you got?
Finding money.
Okay.
How do you structure those?
Okay. Yeah, we'll get into that. I can share a few minutes on that. Brooklyn, you got anything?
Kidding, I'm just like, take it.
Okay. Well, and you guys are all at different stages too, with where you've been, your background, your stories. Like that's one of the cool things about real estate too, is it doesn't matter where you've come, anyone can be successful. Everybody has there's no, I tell a lot of agents, there's no like secret sauce where it's like, just do this one thing and you'll be successful. So I'll give you an example. Like I have a guy on our team that has been in the podcast world for 12 years. Most of his business comes from the people that he interviewed on the podcast over the last decade. So he still does his podcast. It's I Am Salt Lake. His name's Chris Hollifield. Like that's his niche or community that he's found is through the podcasting world. I have another agent who all he does is pickleball. He plays pickleball with people and gets together for food and is in a couple cookbook clubs. Like that's how he's built his business. He doesn't do anything else. He doesn't door knock. He doesn't open house. He doesn't. But he'll sell 15 million a year with his eyes closed. And he plays pickleball 4 or 5 times a week. He's in a couple book clubs. He has people over like for food. He'll do pie nights, pizza nights. Like he just gets people together and has people bring a +1. And that's like the niche or community that he's built. So I don't think there's not like one thing that is going to cause each of you to be successful. I think it's finding what your thing is and just doing it consistently and trying to build a community or a group of people and build relationships. So keep that in mind. Sometimes I think we're looking for like, just give me this like one perfect thing that's going to make me sell a bunch of real estate. And it's usually not that. Like there's some people that are really successful and they send birthday cards consistently and that's their thing. Like, and we'll get into 36 touch and what that looks like, but you've got to find something. And we'll usually break it down as a team. There should be 3 things lead generation wise that you're focusing on. The first one is always your sphere, which is your database, like your friends and family, the people that know you. That should always be your first one. There should be 2 additional things that you can commit to. And so whether that's farming an area, open houses, door knocking, networking, doing pickleball, like sending birthday cards, there should be 2 additional things that you can commit to and be consistent with so that you kind of look at it as like a 3-legged stool. And if you don't have all 3 that you're doing consistently, sometimes it is really tough to be consistent in the business and you'll have a really up and down roller coaster ride of a career and sales. So you got to be specific there. You also have to think through who is your ideal client. You know, sometimes it's like, well, I just want to do everything. I want to do commercial and land development and residential. It's like you got to kind of get a niche and focus group too of who is your ideal client. If you could pick anybody, what is their age demographic? What are they looking for? What's their product type? Is that first time home buyer? Is it your custom build? Is it new construction clients? Is it your move up buyer that's already owned a townhome or condo and you specialize in getting them into that next house? Like who is your ideal client? And that should help you with those 2 other lead generation activities to identify how you focus in on your ideal client. Okay. Because not all clients are built the same. Investors, those were great clients during COVID. Investors are so much work in this market. Nothing pencils. Buying an investment property right now is so difficult. They take so much time. And not that I would tell new agents to shy away from it, but again, like, is that your ideal client? You're going to have a lot of systems and things built in place, or you're going to spend a lot of time and run yourself ragged for no money. So again, I think that's a lens to think through of who is my ideal person to work with that I want to focus on. So let's get into database. Who is currently in Command? Using Command, who's in it? Okay. So you guys are in it. Okay. Okay, that's okay. Yeah, I was gonna say I would look at the training calendar and I would go to a couple of the Command, the classes. Yep. Yeah, Kimber is one of the best. So Kimber's awesome, great instructor, awesome teacher. And maybe I'll give a little background too. So Red Sign team, we have transitioned a couple times into a couple different CRMs. Okay. Command was announced from Keller Williams years and years and years ago. And it was promised to be this amazing CRM like 8 years ago. And a team of our size, like we just couldn't make the jump into Command in the early stages because it just didn't do what we needed to at the volume and the level of business that we did. And so we were in initially Boomtown, and then 3 years ago, we were still looking to make a change. I looked at every CRM out there. Command had come a long ways, but even 3 years ago, it still wasn't what it is today. And so we as a team use a CRM called Brivity. It's built by a guy named Ben Kinney. He's in the Keller Williams world, and he is kind of the godfather of like big expansion teams. And so the reason why we're in it is just because of the size we are. Now, with that said, if we were to re-look at CRMs today, and we fast forward from 3 years ago, Command would be one of the CRMs that would be on the top of my list. We would consider folding back into the KW world simply because of how far it's come over the last 3 years. For smaller teams, solo agents, like Command is awesome. There is a ton of resources in it. There's a ton of auto plans. There's a ton of drip campaigns. There is a ton of phenomenal things, and Command is very similar to Brivity because Ben Kinney is in Keller Williams world. It's very similar in a lot of aspects. So I wouldn't use anything else. I would double down on Command. If I was in each of your shoes, I would use the system that Keller Williams has and provides. The importance with a database is you have to realize and understand that is where your money lies. Okay, I'll give you a personal story. So I spent 10 years in construction. I worked 80 to 100 hours a week. We poured concrete 6 to 8 times a week. I did a ton of projects. And you would think that after 10 years, I would have this phenomenal database. But the problem is most businesses don't understand databases the way that the real estate industry does and the way that Keller Williams teaches it. And so I was in a business where it was just really proactive. We didn't have to market. Our phones were always ringing. I was always months out. Like we just kept busy because of the quality of the work we did, and people knew us because it was like 3 generations. And so it was awesome. But I changed careers and I got into real estate and realized really soon that I let a huge opportunity go by not having and growing a database over the last 10 years. If I would have just been disciplined on putting people into name, phone number, email into, which I had all of that information at one time. If I would have just kept a database, I could have changed careers, got into real estate, and immediately reached out to thousands and thousands of contacts that I had done work for and just said, hey, I've changed careers and this is what I'm doing. You know the level of service that I provide. I would love to stay in touch with you. Do you have anybody, if the real estate need arised, do you have anyone that you would trust? And I should have been able to have a list of just thousands of people, but I didn't. So I learned early on, I was like, man, that was a wasted opportunity in 10 years of my life in another industry that I could have taken an advantage of. And so when you look at a long sales career in real estate too, you'll understand that like the thing that becomes valuable at the end of a sales career for real estate is your database. A database that's been worked, nurtured, 36 touch, events. Like when you get to the end of a career, the thing that allows somebody to continue making money or income from their business is their database. Because once you stop selling, the income stops. And so the only way for you to generate more income later on is to have a just dialed in database. And so the first thing you've got to realize when you're early on in your career is you've got to build and grow a database. And sometimes most agents will get into industry and they'll think, I've got to know everything. I've got to go to every class. I've got to know ins and outs. I've got to know if somebody says they want to write an offer, I need to know that thing up and down, left and right. And I've got to just learn everything about real estate. And so I'm going to go to all these classes, learn all this stuff, but I'm never going to start doing the work and reaching out to people and having conversations. And so I tell agents like, you also can't just go have conversations and not have some systems in place. Because there was an agent here that was here last year, and the kid would go out and knock usually for 4 or 5 hours every day. He was out knocking doors. And so he was knocking doors. He was A/B testing scripts. Like the kid was phenomenal in starting to grow a database. The problem was he didn't have a 36 touch. He didn't have any systems or processes in place to start nurturing the relationship. And so even though he went from like no database to 500 people in 6 months, he didn't have any way to like stay top of mind and actually grow the relationship with them. And so he wasn't getting any business either. And so there's a good middle ground where early on in your career, you've got to go to classes, you've got to go to the command classes, you've got to know and understand. But a lot of your experience will come through just doing a deal. And that is where leaning on the office and Cameron and Dean as the broker, like there's tons of people here, top producers that would take time to help you work through a contract or a addendum or whatever you're dealing with, or negotiating an inspection report. All of those things, there's plenty of people that are in the KW world that would absolutely help you. Don't shy away from going and finding that person because you're so worried about learning everything. So remember, there's a balance to that as well. You've got to go grow a database and have conversations. When you look at a database, you'll look at a handful of things. Initially, when you guys get in the areas you're at, the initial people that you want in your database are your sphere of influence. So it's your people, it's your friends, your family, those that know you, those that trust you. Commonly, that's going to be in your phone. So if you opened up your phone, how many contacts are in there, and how many of those are in your database or in command? Anyone know? If you guys pulled out your phone right now and went to contacts, how many contacts are in your cell phone?
Cell phone, only got through the B's on my.
Okay. Keep going. Okay. What about the rest of you? How many contacts are in your phone right now? If you went to your phone, to your iPhone, went to contacts, how many people do you have? It'll tell you right at the very bottom. All the way at the bottom on an iPhone, it will tell you how many contacts you have. Okay, you got 147. She's got 395. What's Brooklyn got? All the way at the bottom. So if you go to contacts and then pull up the names, then you go all the way to the bottom, it will tell you, it'll give you a number. Okay, she's got 300. How many you got? 90? Introduce yourself. Who are you? Alberto, good to meet you. Cody, thanks for being here today. Okay, so everybody has a different range of contacts. I've got 1266, okay? So we've got a wide range. I would look at those contacts, and that should be the first group of people that you're hitting early on in your business. Those are the people you should be contacting. And there's going to be a group, and this is where I'm gonna intertwine some of the tagging in command as you build this out, okay? So you'll hear commonly within Keller Williams a term called SOI-A and SOI-B, okay? This is a way to start separating your database. The reason why tagging in command and in a CRM can be very valuable is because as you get into your career, it allows you to start being able to market to those people and find people better, okay? So for example, we talked about investors. If I've got an investor, I'm tagging them investor in my database. Why? Because if I come across a deal on the MLS or off market, my fastest way to see if I can go get a buyer tied to it and get a paycheck is sending it to those people that I've tagged in my database. So instead of being like, man, who's that guy I talked to 6 months ago that was after that house in Salt Lake County? Oh yeah, there was that one lady that called me on this one thing and she was interested, and there was that other person that said this. If I just slow down when I get a lead or contact and I slow down, put it into my CRM, name, phone number, email, address. You want all four if you can get them. Okay. If you can't, you want at least a name, a phone number, and an email. If you don't have an email, you can't market to them. So you can't leverage or use a lot of the auto plans and drip campaigns that Kimber will cover. So you want as much info as you can. Knowing that sometimes when you call for the first time and say, hey, I was reaching out to check in with you. I know it's been a while since we've talked. How's life? What are you doing? I know Cameron will probably cover the Ford script. It'll get into family, occupation, and a couple things. So reconnecting with people and then helping them understand, hey, I have jumped into real estate. I'm excited. I've got my license. There's a lot of great things going on in the real estate industry. What goals do you have? You know, as you reconnect with those people, understanding where they're at, but then sometimes you're not going to say, hey, well, can I get your email? Also, where are you living? Give me your address. Like sometimes that's a lot of information to get from somebody. And so as you start, you want to get as many people as you can in your database, and then there's going to be some lead generation activities. There's going to be times where you need to spend intentional time getting addresses. So maybe the office is doing an event and you'd love to send them a little invite to the event and some free tickets. Hey, I've got this event coming up with my office. They're doing Killer Splash in the summer, which is the water park in Provo. I'd love to send you an invite. What's your address? And I'll get something in the mail sent over to you. Okay. And so Christmas time is a great one as you send Christmas cards. Hey, I'd love to send you a Christmas card. When you get an address, it also allows you to utilize some tools for home values. Okay. And so there's a couple things by getting a database 100%: name, phone number, email, and address. That is like your database health. How of those 4 things, how many do you have? Most of us will be really good at name and phone number. The problem with that in a database, if you only have a phone number, who is the one that's going to be marketing to them? Can you systematize that? If you only have a phone number, not usually. You can use a business phone number. You can send automated text here and there, but you can't send emails. You can't say market updates. You can't send a monthly newsletter. You can't market to them at the fullest extent. It's all comes back to you if you only have a phone number. So you want to get an email address. You want to be able to market to them at a higher level. Okay. So as you put people in there, tagging is really important. So back to SOI-A, SOI-B. So I'll write this down so you guys have it. This is how we look at it as a team. So I've got my A's and I've got my B's. Your A's, you'll hear a lot of time in Keller Williams, 201. You want at least 200 contacts in your SOI-A. These are going to be people that you're going to call quarterly. Okay. So I would start tagging your database into A's and B's. A's is somebody, I tell my agents, A's is somebody that you feel comfortable and confident getting on the phone and calling every quarter. Now it's a big ask. What am I talking about? What am I calling people every 3 months and talking about? Okay. That can be builder incentives. It can be, we have a great insurance company. Hey, when's the last time you've shopped your home and auto insurance to save you money? That can be around September time when everyone gets their tax notices. Hey, if you get a tax notice that comes in and you think it's off, I personally fought my own tax bill on my own personal home. It went up 10% last year. So I reached out and said, look, I'm in real estate. There's no way the market has not gone up 10%. This is crazy. And so I got them to reduce the tax value on my home just over $200,000. So that's a great touch point to reach out and say, hey, if you're concerned about the tax value that you get, reach out to me. I'll run some numbers for you. I'll send you a CMA. I'll put a CMA together for you. And that is what you'll use to fight the value on your home for tax season. Okay. Builder incentives. That's another great one. Hey, builders are offering phenomenal incentives. I've got a home builder, Edge, who's offering 9%. Who do you know that would be looking to get into a new construction home? Okay. So it isn't this idea that I'm calling quarterly, just like, are you ready to buy or sell? Are you ready to sell your house? You know, what am I providing value? How am I providing value? So always look through that lens when you're building and growing a database is how are you providing value during the phone call? Okay. That's another important piece. It becomes really hard to want to call people and market to them and stay connected to them if you're looking at a sales, like I just want to sell people. Okay. If you're looking at it through a lens of how am I providing value? How am I loving on the people? How am I helping them in their life and providing resources? We have a great vendor list. Okay. Another touch point is just like, hey, if you've got springtime, if you've got anything that you're wanting to do on your house, yard updates, projects on the inside, and you're looking for a vendor, let me know. My company and I have an awesome vendor list that are all vetted that we've all used a bunch and they'll give you great pricing on. Okay. Another easy, great touch point. Okay, so these are ways that you should be marketing throughout the year. So there's events, there's market updates, there's vendor lists, how do you save you money, end of year pricing updates. Like there's a bunch of things that you can reach out throughout the year that doesn't just have to be super salesy. So your A's are going to be, how often are you calling these guys? Quarterly, every 3 months. Cameron will share, have you guys heard of DTD2? Have you heard of that? No? Let me pull it up and see if this is in this slide deck that I'll show you. So there is a I don't know if it really exists outside of, oh yeah, Cameron does have it in here. It's you break your database into 2 letters of the last name every week. And there's a calendar that Cameron can send you guys and you guys have access to. But it's 2 letters of the last name every week. It breaks it out through the quarter. And then if you just follow that, it'll have you call those 2 last names every week. And if you do that throughout the quarter, you'll call everybody. Okay. So as a team, we have this morning phone call from 8:30 to 9. And on Mondays, we'll usually just talk about what's happening in the economy, what's happening in the market, where our rates at, what are our talking points for the week. So as you start the week, one thing that you should consider is, what value am I giving to people that I call this week? And sometimes those are going to last a week. Sometimes they last a full month. You know, if I'm calling in the month of September, that's a great one because everybody's starting to receive their tax notice. So that's a great one for the month of September for me to reach out to my people about. And sometimes you have these fast spurts that you'll reach out to. If you've got an event, we'll hit all of our people in a couple weeks in a database just simply because we want to get our invites out to an event. Okay. So sphere of influence should be your biggest one. That should be your catalyst of your first deal, who you're attracting. You talked about how do you find your first deal. It should really come from the people that you know. And that is either them transacting or it's referrals. Okay, so if you're providing value and helping people understand some of the opportunities or deals in the market, I brought up the builder ones as a good one, where it's like, hey, who do you know that's interested in buying or selling this year? And so a lot of people are going to tell you, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't have anybody that comes to the top of my mind. A lot of agents will stop the conversation there and that's it and be like, okay, thanks. But you've got to teach people how to give referrals. Okay. I gave this example a couple months ago to our team. I said, I've got a great gal. She cuts my hair every Saturday. Human nature is not just to give referrals for people that we love and have done business with. You know, I'm sure if I asked you guys if there's a service, somebody that you've gone to, a company that you've used for something that you just thought was phenomenal, if they didn't come to you and help teach you or say, hey, we'd love to help your friends and family, who else do you know that we could come clean their carpets or cut their hair or whatever it is, we naturally are just like grateful for the service that was given. We pay them and we're on our way. We don't stop to think about like, hey, I've got a friend who's got a dog and you're a great dog groomer. I'd love to send you a referral. Hey, if you ever need a dog groomer, the gal that I use is awesome. Like we don't naturally, human nature isn't to think about that. So you have to realize, in as much as sometimes as agents, we think like, oh, well, for sure they'll refer their friends and family. They know I'm in real estate. I call quarterly. No. Unless you go teach them how to give you a referral, they're not going to think about it when the time comes. You have to be intentional when asking for referrals. So when you say, it's not, hey, do you know anybody? It's not a yes or no question. It's open-ended. Okay. When you look at psychology and closed loops in your mind, who do you know that's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, or just has some real estate questions? That who question is not a yes or no. It's an open-ended question that causes them to think. It also causes them subconsciously to have this open loop that if I'm going to teach them about a referral or how to give it, we want them to come back to that. So when they say, Cody, I don't know anybody right now that I can think of that's looking to buy or sell. Hey, no problem. Can I just ask, when you have a conversation with somebody or something comes up about real estate, will you keep me in mind? Most people are like, yeah, that's awesome. I've got a goal to help 20 families this year, and I would love, Brooklyn, for you to help me in reaching my goal this year. Can you help me in that? Most people love helping other people. So when you say, hey, I've got this goal to help so many people this year, will you help me obtain that goal or reach that goal? Most people are gonna be like, yeah, that's for sure. I'd love to help you. Great. The way that looks is if you have a real estate conversation or you hear somebody talking about wanting to make a move at work or at some of your activities or whatever, will you just put me in a group message with them so I have 100% chance to connect with them? Okay, so now I'm teaching them what the referral actually looks like. 1, they know that I value a referral. 2, they know that I've got this goal and I'm asking them to help me. So people that know me and trust me, when I say, hey, I've got this goal, I'd love for you to help me. If one of my friends called me up and said, hey, I've got this goal in my business, will you help me? I'm going to do whatever I can to help them because I love them. They trust me. I trust them. Like, how do I help other people? We naturally as humans want to help and serve others. So how do you help teach people how to do that? And then the last one is just showing them what that actually looks like. Because sometimes it's like, yeah, sure, I'll pass your phone number on. The problem is if they just pass your number on, the chance of you actually connecting with the person is like 0. Hopefully they call, you know, and it does happen occasionally. I got a phone call last week from I sold a house to one of my other clients. I've sold 2 homes to her kids, and her son called me. I bought a house, and luckily his coworker that rides around, he works for one of the cities, called me and said, hey, I got your phone number from Logan. I'm looking to buy a house. I'm getting married in a couple months. Great. That does happen. But the 100% chance is if Logan would have just put us in a text message and said, hey, Luke, here's Cody. He's awesome. He was phenomenal when we bought our house. I just wanted to introduce the 2 of you guys. I'll let you take it from there. Like I have 100%, I have his name. I've got his phone number. Like now I'm going to start following up. I'm going to call him. I'm going to text him. I'm going to start working that lead to try to connect with him and see what's his time frame, what's his area, is he pre-approved, all the things, okay? But that has to come from, I've been really intentional over my career of just teaching people how to give referrals and coming back to it. When you position it as a, hey, you're helping me obtain this goal in my life and I would love for you to help me. It's like if a friend called me and said, hey, I have this health goal and I've got a goal to walk every night. Will you just check in with me? Or, hey, will you come walking with me twice a week? Like, or work out? Like, I'd be like, sure, let's do it. I'm for sure up for that. Like, I'd love to help you. I've got my own goals in life, you know? So that's a great way to try to teach people how to give referrals. So it can be people that are in here, but it's also their friends and family. And the only way to get to the friends and family is by teaching them what it looks like, okay? So it doesn't mean every single time you call quarterly that you have to say, hey, who do you know? Give me somebody. But once or twice a year, you should be bringing that up and helping remind people that, hey, I have a goal. This is what it is. Come help me. And the goal with the database is just putting people in there, okay? You've got to just get more and more people in there. Your Bs, the difference between As and Bs are people you're going to market to, okay? So I'm going to send them email marketing. I'm going to invite them to events, but they may not be my A's. They may not be somebody that I want to call quarterly. I may not have that relationship with them. This could be an open house lead, okay? It could be somebody I door knocked into. It could be somebody that, you know, that I met at some networking event. Okay, it's not somebody that I personally have a good relationship with, so I'm not going to go bombard them and call them quarterly because I don't have a great relationship with them. But it's a list that if I have an event coming up or have a really good value add, that's a list that I want to go just hit the phones and make a bunch of phone calls or send a bunch of texts and say, hey, I've got this phenomenal deal right now that I came across in the market. This is what it is. It's a builder deal. It's this house that just hit the market. This is what it, let me know who do you know that would be interested in this? Okay, hey, I've got this event coming up. I'd love to send you some tickets to it. Let me know if you guys are interested. Okay, so there's a couple times a year, once or twice, where our team will hit the B list really hard around our events because it's just I have a really good value add. So it's a great way to connect with them because it's very valuable. And so I'm not calling them quarterly, but once or twice a year, I'll still reach out to that group. So as you put people into your database, those are the 2 tags that you absolutely should have on there. Are they an A or are they a B? And times your A's are going to move into B's and B's are going to move into A's. You're going to have some transition where people we had a lot of investors in our SOIA during COVID. We sold a lot of condos and townhomes to investors, but all those people came out and they're now in the B's because they're just not at the top of our list. They're not the people that are going to transact in this market.
Long ago, so I don't have like a lot of people I know, my family's especially are, yeah. But my husband is very social.
Hi.
And that's a lot of her age that I know that will start looking soon. I'm not like very close to them, but if I wanna add them, would that be an A or B? Because I know that most likely in the near future, they'll wanna know or start looking about a house, but I'm just not really.
Yeah.
That
The question is, will you call them quarterly? That's how I would decide. Will you reach out quarterly? And you've got to decide that. Okay. You've got to decide if that's somebody that you want to reach out to quarterly. Sometimes in those cases, when you have moved here and you haven't been here your whole life, you know, and you don't have church groups and you didn't raise kids and like, you don't have all the different friend groups and things to pull from, or you didn't go to school here, it is an uphill battle because your SOI will be very small. So you have to be more intentional and purposeful when you go to things, events, door knock, farm, like you're getting and gathering information. If you already have a database of 2 or 3 or 400 people, you may not have to be as quite intentional because you're not as focused on growing your database. You're trying to go deeper in your relationships with the people you already have. For somebody like you, you've got to spend time and have a goal. I would tell you, I would set a goal weekly and monthly for how many people you want to add to your database and have that be a focus. So it's a metric or a non-negotiable that you should have to say, hey, look, I'm not, the goal again is 200. You should have a minimum of 200 people in this SYA. Okay. The goal should be to get to at least 200 in that category.
Trying to think how you understand it too, because I'm a little bit same boat, coming back. to you.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking, maybe we just start inviting people, even like that my husband knows, over for dinner. Or
Yep.
we go out to dinner, or we have a game night.
Yep.
Several people and not even play into the fact that I'm a real estate agent, but it always just, so what do you do?
Yep.
I mean, that question is asked to me all the time when I go to have my husband's event.
Yeah.
It's like, so what did your wife do? And so like, it's just that easy conversation to get into. And then, and people like to talk about real estate.
Oh yeah. Yeah. How's the market? Are you selling anything? Are you making any money? It seems crazy. Rates are so high. All those things. Yeah, those are great ideas. So it is a great way to try to intertwine your husband's friends and family and try to get over, because that question will naturally come up as how's work? What are you guys doing? How's work for you? How's the family? And that's your in to then say, hey, well, I'm got my license. I'm in real estate. It's been awesome. This is what we're doing. This is kind of what the market is doing. And from there, it's an easier transition to say, hey, well, I do a couple events with my brokerage twice a year. I love sending a couple updates on just the market and what rates are doing. Is it okay if I kept in contact with you? What's your best email? And I'll send you a few things over, but naturally that conversation will kind of unravel, and you'll be able to pick and know where to interject yourself and where to push a little bit more to pull some info out of people. And it's sometimes we've got couples where husbands are really good and sociable. So it's like, hey, my wife's in real estate. We'd love to keep you updated on the market. Like, can I snag your email and I'll make sure she gets you an email once a month? And so those are ways for you and your husband to work together to try to grow your database too and participate. And that's one of the fun things about real estate is it's not just this W-2 show up and you're like, how was work today? It was fine. Did the same thing every day. I taught more kids, like whatever it is, I talked to more parents. We had parent-teacher conference this week. Like, it is fun to be able to intertwine spouse, friends, and things as you grow your database. Okay. The big one with your database is expectations. So when you jump on Kimber's class for Command, and she'll go through all the different auto plans and things that you can do to streamline your marketing and all the templates and Canva resources and all the things that are readily available in Keller Williams. Sometimes what people will do is like, oh, I have these addresses, these email addresses. I'm just going to throw people on these marketing campaigns. And so they start getting these random emails from me. Some people are going to be okay with it. Some people are going to be like, what the heck? Why is so-and-so sending me these emails? So when you call and you introduce yourself of, hey, I'm in real estate. I've got my license. I'm excited. I've got a goal to help so many families this year. It's important to set expectations. Okay, so when we get into, and we'll spend some time on the 36 touch, it's important to say, hey, I would love to stay in contact with you a little bit more. I send one email a month out that's got some information on the market. It's got some cool houses to look at. Is it okay if I snag your email? I also do some fun events throughout the year. I'd love to send you tickets to that. Can I snag your email and just keep you up to date? So now they know the expectation is I'm going to send them an email every month instead of it. Yeah.
Place where you go and find like, here's the market update right now. I mean, it's like I'm creating a newsletter, want to put that in.
Yep.
Where do I find them?
Yeah. Rapid stats on the MLS. Yeah. Dean will send out his weekly, like Friday emails, and he's got a few things with he's got a few numbers in there with days on market and inventory levels and a few things. So that's a great, little quick one. Rapid stats in the MLS is a great one for just numbers. So they've got a bunch of different ways to look at the market and resources in there. I would say play around with that a little bit. And that's a great one to go find a few metrics and numbers on.
That's how how does that work on our side? Like,
Yeah, so
it-
yeah, so it's you'll have the opportunity to participate. You just buy tickets at a discount. So they'll like reserve the water park in Provo. And I think tickets for that, I want to say are like $5 or $6 a wristband. Normally they're like 20, maybe they're more than that. But they're anywhere from like $6 to $10. And then you can buy however many you want. And then you can decide some of our agents will actually just buy them because they're like half price, and then they'll offer them up at cost to their clients and say, hey, I've got half price tickets to Splash Summit. They're $10 a ticket or $8 or whatever they are. Do you guys want some tickets? My company and I are doing this event. And so they're not even buying it, but again, it's a value add to say, hey, I've got this awesome event. Do you guys want to participate? And then we'll do a pumpkin patch event down in Jakers in Springville. Same kind of thing. Discounted tickets. You can buy them and give them out, or you can use that as a touch point or a value to say, hey, I've got half price tickets to Jakers. My company and I are doing an event. Would love to see you there. Let me know if you guys are interested. So those are the two events the office will run. Okay. And those are great touch points, value add, great time periods to reach out. So there's 2 things every year that you'll reach out on. No, ask away. This is great. I'd rather you guys ask questions and make sure you get the most out of it. So if any of you have questions, raise your hand.
Like, bro, you're on a big team, so you.
Yeah.
Does that.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what we do, but it doesn't have to be at that scale. We've been around 18 years as a company. We do a event a quarter. We do a big Easter egg event. We usually have 3,000 to 4,000 people come. It's 20,000 Easter eggs stuffed. It's 4 or 5 food trucks, face painters, petting zoo, all kinds of things. We've got summer giveaway we do that's usually between $5,000 and $7,000, where we'll just give away Disney tickets, Med Spa gift card for $1,000, bunch of stuff. Then we do our own Jakers and Pumpkin Patch event in Salt Lake County, and we do pictures with Santa. But we do have agents that will do micro events. So I'll give you a couple examples. 2 gals on my team, they did a micro event with a breath working instructor. So they reserved the large training room here, moved all the tables. Everyone, they had like 60 people bring their yoga mats. It was a bunch of girlfriends and things. And they had a yoga instructor or a breathworking instructor that she did it for free because she wanted to come advertise. So she was willing to give an hour or hour and a half of her evening. They found it valuable to reach out because their group of people, that's something that they are kind of interested in. And so they did a fun event, and it didn't cost hardly any money. Okay. So that's a great one to think through. Like, is there some sort of hobby or activity that my sphere would find value in? What is that? And commonly you can go lean on another company to give you some kind of discount or deal to say, hey, I'm going to bring a group of people here. We'd love to do a fun evening. This is what it is. Do you want to partner up to participate? And you'll have companies that will do that. No, you're here. Just reserve it. Yep. I think there's there may be a small deposit, and as long as you keep it clean and you're not spilling in the carpet's not a mess, then you get the deposit back. So pretty simple, great tool to utilize to bring them here. We've had other ones where like around Thanksgiving doing like a pie, where you give out pies right before Thanksgiving. So you can buy pumpkin pies at Costco for $6. So again, if you've got a database of 200, you could pick your top 25 or 50 and reach out to them and say, hey, these are people I've transacted with. It's my top referral partners, or it's, hey, I'm okay throwing a couple $100 at buying some pies. You're not going to have everybody say yes, but you're going to have some people that find value and it's a great pop buy. So saying, hey, I'm going to drop you off a pie right before Thanksgiving. It's an easy one to spend. Hey, I'm going to spend a couple $100 and do a pop buy. Okay. So those are easy ones. Events where you've got smaller, just game nights, get-togethers, networking groups. Again, I would find what's the niche that's in your sphere. Is that hiking? Is it? I've got a agent on our team that's in the military, so shooting guns is a big one. So we're putting together kind of a multiple event throughout this summertime where he'll get people together. They're going to do a competition. We're leaning on a couple vendors to help do a giveaway at the end, and they're going to track who's kind of some of the top shooters, and then also who's participating and coming back. And then we're going to do a big giveaway at the end of it, at the end of the summertime. So those can be fun. Partnering with a lender partner or doing a small giveaway. Those are great ways on social media to interact with people and get people engaged. Just saying, hey, I'm giving away a night stay downtown at the Grand America, and this is what it is. Like, those can be great ways to interact and reach out to your database to say, hey, let me know if you're interested. I'll send you the link to sign up for this giveaway I'm doing, or go follow me on social media. So there is small things you can do that aren't, you know, super, super expensive. Yeah. Like the pumpkin patch event is like, I think it's $10 a head. So it gets expensive. You go give out 50 tickets. It's like, it's $500. Like it can add up really quick when you've got families with a couple kids, a family with 4 kids and parents. Like it's $60 that you just gave away. Like, so there's some other things you can do to stay connected as well. No, that's great. Keep asking. Keep asking. Any other questions with database? Tagging, organizing it. So we've got a lot. Like if I have a new person show up, if we have a new person that shows up to an event, I'll tag them Easter egg event 2025. If we have investors, that's a tag. If I have first time home buyer, that's a tag. Okay. So finding ways, or if I've got somebody that's like, hey, I'm interested in new construction, it's going to be later this year, I'd put them on a new construction tag. Okay. Because when I go spend an hour finding out what is new on the builder side, I don't want to have to sift through my database to go find the people. Yeah. Yeah, you can search in command. When you start tagging people all these different things, you can go and filter just by that one tag, and it will just give you those people that you've tagged.
Like if part of the year, or at least that first year after they're home, you could tag them as first year anniversary. Or
Yeah.
something with that.
Yep.
person.
Yep. And I think command has, Brevity has the ability to, like, when they transact, you can actually go put a date in there. So I think command's going to be very similar. If not, yeah, you could put not only a tag, but you can also give yourself a task to call them a year from now after they close. So those are little things where it's like, all right, birthday dates, using tags, using tasks in the CRM. Okay. So those are ways you maximize a database. It's not just a phone book. It's not just a place to hold names and phone numbers. It's your place to work. It's a place you should be dumping everything. So when I call my DTD2 and I pull up my 2 letters, I have my CRM in front of me and I have my 10 people and I pull out my phone. I'm going to call them on my cell phone, but I have my database in front of me. And when I call somebody and we have a conversation, I'm then putting notes in the CRM. Okay. I follow everybody that's in my database on social media because when I'm scrolling, I want to see what they're doing. So when I call them and I say, hey, how's your summer been? I saw you guys went to this awesome vacation and went to Florida. How was it? The photos looked amazing. You know, it builds rapport and I'm pouring into them and we're building a relationship. It's not just me calling and saying, hey, you ready to sell your house? I know I just called you 3 months ago. It's saying, hey, I saw you guys had this, you did this over Christmas. Hey, I saw your son won this award. Hey, so following everybody in your database allows them to see what you're doing as well. So social media becomes a great one for keeping top of mind with people. Historically, fundamentally, it was always phone calls. When you go back to the 80s, the 90s, early 2000s, lead generation in your database literally was calling people. There was a training with Cody Gibson, who is the vice president of MAPS coaching for Keller Williams. He did a training a couple months ago and was talking about the power of just texting, how phone calls have become, less people are answering phone calls because of the world we live in. Like, it's just, we live in that world. Like, it's as weird as it is for people not to pick up the phone and call. Most people would rather text. And so I would tell you too, we've started testing it as a team, maybe calling a little bit less and leaning on text messages to communicate with people because you have better dialogue back and forth. We've also been talking about interacting with people over social media. So instead of me sending them a text, if I asked all of you to pull up your phone right now and give me your usage rate on Instagram or Facebook and how much time you spent in the last week, if you average that out over a database, people are always scrolling. They're always on social media. They're always sitting there at night looking at stuff. And so to send a message on Facebook or Instagram and say, hey, I was thinking of you. Your post about your vacation was awesome. By the way, I've got this awesome event coming up for my company. I would love to send you some tickets. Let me know if you're interested. Like, to strike up a conversation over that, I think is not being used at a high level right now because people just like scrolling.
That is become or more
Texting and social media is more engaging and getting people. Yeah, you're getting better response rates through doing those 2 things than you are sometimes with phone calls. So I would lean on those 2 things to communicate and stay top of mind with people. So social media should be one of the ways that you're staying top of mind and people are seeing that you're in real estate, but They want to see not only that you're doing real estate, but they also want to see the fun things you're doing in your life, you know? So I'm taking my family to Florida here in a couple weeks for a 10-day trip, and I rented a school bus. So I got on there. We just had twins. I have 5 kids. And I was gonna like rent a 12-passenger van, and it was the same price to rent like this mini school bus. This guy has built a business on Turo, like designing vehicles and making them fun because he has 5 kids. So I rented like this mini bus. So I'll absolutely like throw a picture up on social media about us being in this mini bus and having 5 kids, because that's how you build relationships with people. Like, sure, they are interested in some of the real estate stuff, but they want to know you. What are you doing in your life? What are your hobbies? What do you like? What do you do on the weekends? Like, you've got to be better about posting those things mixed in with your real estate stuff, because that is how people are going to not only remember you as, oh yeah, she does real estate or he does real estate, but he's also a person. He also has a life. He's got a family. He's got friends. They've got hobbies. Okay. So social media should be a great one for you to stay top of mind. It's not talked about in our 36 touch very often, the way that it's built in Keller Williams, but that absolutely should be one of the ways that you're engaging. You should have 15 or 30 minutes a day where you're going on and just liking and commenting on people's posts. As you do that, it will allow your content to be in front of those people at a higher rate. So just engaging with people is ways that you're touching base with them and building rapport. It's not doom scrolling. It's not going on there and spending 2 hours sitting and looking at reels. That's not what you're doing. You're being intentional, saying, I'm going to spend the next 15 to 30 minutes and I'm going to go follow a couple people. I'm going to go comment on a couple people's pages or posts, and I'm going to go like a few of those. And maybe I send a couple DMs, but I'm going to be really intentional with this time. And by doing that, again, you're utilizing some of the tools in the world we live in to stay top of mind. Okay. We've talked a lot about database. Any other questions with database? You got to build it. You got to grow it. That's where your money is. Okay. Dumping all your notes in there, tagging people. Like, the more disciplined you can be in a database, the better off you will be in this industry. Yeah. I was telling these guys. So SOI A and B. SOI A is going to be call every quarter. These are going to be my top. You want to get to at least 200. Your Bs are going to be, and commonly sometimes these are categorized as Mets and unmets. People that I know, I've met them, seen them face to face, and these are people that I haven't met yet. Okay, so that can be sometimes how you differentiate them. But A's and B's are common. Those, you should absolutely have one of those 2 tags on everybody in your database, so you can separate who's your top 200, who's not. DTD2 tags, so the letters of your last name. So those are a great tag. That system going in and marking. So every lead in our database, we have like 6,000 SOI people as a team, and every single one of them is marked the DTD2 tag. Okay. Yeah. So that's like, so for example, this week for us was S plus X. So it's S and X for the last letters of the name. And that's the tag. And so when I go, and I know this week when I follow the calendar, and that's in there, Cameron can send it to you guys for the DTD2 tag. I'll send it out to you guys. When I pull that up, DTD2. I think it's do the database today, I think is what it is. So that is a great way to organize it. So when you pull it up and you're like, okay, these are the 2 letters this week, you filter by those letters and you call those 5 or 10 people. So I'm not funneling through. I'm not trying to go scroll down to the T's, and it's just an easy way to systematize your database. Okay. Then I was telling these guys, investor, first-time home buyer. If somebody comes to an event, if I do a micro event, you know, I tag the people that came there. There's just great ways to tag depending on how you want to market to people. So I would utilize and lean into some of those things too. So yeah. Yeah, as you meet more people and you find like, I'm commonly talking to people that want new construction stuff. I need to like tag people new construction. So instead of talking to somebody and then going and finding new construction, I changed my prospecting strategy. I'm going to go find the latest and greatest new construction incentives. Then I'm going to go filter by new construction tag in my database, and I'm going to send it to all 32 people. So instead of it just happening when it comes up, I'm going to spend so much time lead generating individually versus I have 7 investors. I'm just going to go spend some time, set up a couple things on the MLS, and then I'm going to send it to all 7 of them at one time. These are the top 3 deals in our market. Let me know if you're interested. So it provides an easier way to be more efficient as you lead generate. So, and as you grow and do more things, you'll find that you're adding tags. And you don't want to have too many. You don't want to overload it. So you want to start really simply with who's my SYA, who's my Bs, add the last letters in their name. So that is organized. So it does take a little time, but if you follow that process every time you add a lead, it keeps you really, really organized. Okay. Anything else with database? Okay. I'm going to touch base on, this is another one talking about SOIA, BC, VIP, buyer, seller, doesn't know, investor, vendor. Okay. Those are a handful of other tags. Yeah. I'll have Cameron send them out to you. You'll commonly find this too. So I'll just touch base on this. Is you're organizing, and I think Command has this too. So this is like status. So you've got hots, nurtures, watches. Everybody I put into my, and we're a little bit different. We just follow these three. Cameron, are these three in Command? Hot, nurture, watch?
No.
Okay.
Watch. Oh,
There's not a status in Command. We have like statuses. So if everybody I put in my database is going to be a watch, my nurtures are 3 to 12 months and my hots are the next 90 days. So those are great ways to like divide your pipeline, knowing who's my next paycheck. Those should fall in the hot bucket. Okay. If they don't have a status in Command, I would build a tag and I would tag them hot or I would tag them nurture. Everybody else for me is just a watch. They're just in there. Yeah, those are some of your, yeah, they've got smart plans, but these are just should be statuses. We have status in ours. So if not hot, nurture, watch, I would utilize the hot nurture for tags because I'll give you guys a sheet before you leave. It's like the top 10 things to do out of Brivity, and there's activities. And they follow some of this, but every day I should be going in and looking at my list of hots. So these are people who are like hand raisers, met with, had a buyer consult, went on a listing appointment. What am I doing that week to move that lead closer to transacting? And that's a bucket or people that I should be looking at every single week. I should be looking at my hots and thinking through what am I doing to move them closer to transacting? How do I get them under contract? What objection am I overcoming? What house do I need to go find? What information do I need to send? Okay. Your nurtures every week or every other week, I should be looking at that list because that's the next 3 to 12 months. Okay. What am I sending them? How do I keep top of mind? What's the value add that I'm giving them? Okay. So those are two. They don't have statuses in there. Hots and nurtures, there's another tag that I would encourage you guys to lean on. Because again, when I get into my database and I have these conversations, I went to this event, I've got to think, all right, who's my next paycheck? That's going to be the hot tag. Those are my people. It could be a couple people right now. I just got to go get them under contract. I'm going to touch base really quickly on the 36 touch. Okay. So the smart plans is what she brought up. Command and Kimber Walton is doing a Command training, I think next week or the end of this week. Look at the calendar, KW calendar. That's a phenomenal one to go to. There's a ton of smart plans that have already been pre-built out. I'm just going to briefly tell you what we use as RedSign. Okay. So it's more than 36 touches, but we send 2 emails a month. Okay. Our first one is our newsletter. Over 18 years, we have found that our highest open rate on our newsletter, the most commonly clicked thing is a luxury home. $5 to $40 million. More people click on that. More people want to look through a $25 million home than anything else we've ever added to our newsletter. They just love looking at luxury houses. So we have a $5 to $40 or $50 million house. We have one of those on our newsletter every month because that's our best click thing. People love it. People love looking at ungodly houses where they're like, who can afford this? And how do you fit everything that this house has? How does somebody pay for it? And who thought of all these things? Okay. No, not really. They're just, people love clicking through them. They're just clickbait. People love it. They love that in the newsletter. Okay. The other thing with your newsletter is to think about how often is somebody transacting every year with you? How many people are buying a house every year? Nobody. The average right now is 8 to 10 years. Okay. So if I have to market to somebody for the next 8 years before they buy or sell another property, Do you think they really care about market stats? Is that the thing that's just going to be the thing they just can't wait to open your newsletter because they want to know how days on market are or how much inventory is on the MLS? No, they could care less. They just bought a house 18 months ago. They ain't going to move for another 10 years. So luxury house is one of them. The other thing is just events happening in our community. Okay. So just what's happening this month? And that's an easy one. You can put that into AI or chat and say, hey, can you find me all the list of all the activities in the different communities in Salt Lake and Utah County that I can include in my newsletter? Give me everything. And then I would include a handful of the top events in there because those are the things they can take their kids or grandkids to, or date nights, or, oh, I didn't know that the Christmas market was coming to over by the zoo and that's happening next weekend. Like those are things that are valuable. Developments. What's happening in my backyard? Texas Instrument just got another investment from the government in their project in Lehigh. Utah City here in Vineyard. What's the latest and greatest happening there? Point of the Mountain. What's going on with the Point of the Mountain right now? What's our latest update there? Okay, so developments, things that are happening in your backyard are a great one to include as well because those are valuable information and people are interested to know there's a lot of things going on. Okay. Three Bridges, the luxury golf course in Salem, Utah, that's just continuing to push forward. Like that's a great one, you know? So there's a bunch of these developments that people are fascinated about knowing what's going on and what the latest update is. And then we do include a little bit of real estate information. We will include a little bit of stats and a little interest rate update, okay? But that's like at the bottom of it, okay? We'll usually include like a blog post to start it off. So that's how we've structured our newsletter. So we send that every month. We have a tool in Brivity. I don't know if Command has something tied to it that is a market value, a home value, okay? So those are our 2 emails a month. One's our newsletter and one's as a market value. So what is their home worth? Okay. Does Command have anything like that up to this point? Okay. 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 So you could adjust that to down to a month, and then you could send that in your newsletter. And again, Kimber will cover, there's templates on Canva. Keller Williams has awesome resources to build stuff out. It doesn't have to be this thing that you spend half your week building. There's a lot of resources to lean into. Okay, so those are our 2 that we send monthly. Then we have our quarterly events that we do, and we'll reach out around those. So we'll send mailers, we'll call around it, and then we have our 4 phone calls every year that we reach out to our database. Okay. Yeah. So every quarter you're calling them. So at the end of the year, you'll call them 4 times. One person 4 times. Yeah. So one person 4 times. Okay. Then we've got our 24 emails that we send out. We've got our 4 events. We've got mailers that we do. And then we'll do call days around our events. There'll be additional touches with, like I said, tax notices. Hey, I'd love to save you money on insurance. Just the random updates that we'll send out throughout the year too. So you really want to build a system where you're staying top of mind and leaning on people. Again, this is something that takes time to build. Don't get lost in spending all this time building out this dialed in 36 touch program that's going to take you the next 2 months and negate making phone calls. Okay. This is something, be intentional, put some time aside in your calendar to chip away at it. So I'm spending a little time building it out and eventually I'll get dialed in where I've got a process. But don't lose sight that real estate is a contact sport. You have to reach out to people and connect with them. Okay. That's the way that you're going to find your first deal. Talking points. We went over some of those. I don't know if there's really anything else, that I had to cover as far as data. We've covered a lot on database, a lot on how to organize it, reach out to people, referrals, growing a database, having a goal in your business to have a minimum standard. How many people are you adding to your database this week or this month? What's your standard? Okay. That forces you to think through when you go to things and you're around people to be like, hey, I've got to add somebody this week. I haven't done it yet. Who am I adding to my database? Okay. I'll tell you right now, I'll give you a number. We just closed out the year. I told you we have like thousands and thousands of people in our SOIA. If you guys you want a good book to read early on in your career, Real Estate Millionaire book is a great one, okay, by Gary Keller. There's a lot of great information in this book. they'll talk about, you know, a percentage of what you should be able to convert your database at and how many deals you should pull out of there. In that book, it commonly talks about, Cameron, is it 10%? The one formula is like 16%. Yeah, it used to be like 16%. Yeah, which is like, the goal is to get to 10%. So we feel like we have, as a real estate team, one of our superpowers, I would tell you, is we feel like we're really good at our 36 touch program. We're really intentional. We're consistent with it. People expect our events to happen. Like, we're really good at it. And we hold our agents accountable to calling quarterly. Last year, we were just under 3% conversion. Okay. So if you think about that, I have 100 people in my database, one of the best teams in the state right now for a 36 touch program, and we are converting at less than 3%, which means out of 100 people in my database, I'll be lucky to get 2 to 3 deals out of it if I only have 100 people that I'm marketing to consistently. Okay. Now I have some agents that are really good at being really, really intentional with how they nurture their database. So I told you Jake Bowers, pickleball dinners. Okay. He is like 13% conversion on his database. It's phenomenal because there's such high level touches. He's so intimate. It's all face to face. It's no phone calls. Okay. And that may seem like, oh, I just have to meet people in face to face. And it doesn't. That's a really, to duplicate his business is really difficult. It's really hard to do that over. He's a unicorn. But you have to find some balance there. It's going to be texting, it's going to be phone calls, but you do need to get face to face with people. Okay. There's a lot of value and rapport that's built with relationships face to face that you just can't do on a phone call. So you've got to have a good balance of utilizing office events or getting together for game nights and helping that conversion come up. But this is why right now I have pushed our agents. It's not 200 for us. It's like 300 or 400. To get to your numbers and goals for a lot of agents, you just have to be in relationship with a lot of people. You got to know a lot of people. So if I could have you walk away from anything today too, I would just add, be intentional with growing your database. Wherever you go, everyone you talk to, pour value into them, love on them, but understand that you have to get their information and put them in your database to grow it. And if you don't, it's going to be really hard to pull deals out of your database. Okay. Even if I had 200 and I was at 5%, that's 10 deals in a year. It's less than 1 a month. Okay. And that's if I'm doing a really good job of touching base with people, you could get to 5%. So when you look at your goals, that's a good idea or number to think about. If I want to go close 2 deals a month, what's the math on that? I'm going to have hundreds and hundreds of people that I'm in relationships with. Okay. You got to do a really good job staying top of mind. So one of the things when you have a smaller database is you have to be intentional with growing it. Got to get people's information. I feel like we did a good job. First deal, lead gen, SOI, hit that first. And then outside of that, what's your other 2 lead generation activities that you're doing? Okay. 3-legged stool. First one's SOI. You should have 2 more activities that you're focused on. Okay. Door knocking, farming, events. I've got an agent on our team that he also has a relationship with an indoor golf simulator company. So he just gets buddies together and they bring friends and he'll do a once a week golf night on a Friday where anybody can come. They'll just open it up, come hit a bunch of golf balls, hang out with a bunch of guys. Just a fun event because that's one of his hobbies. I told you guys about the shooting event another agent's doing. Okay. So what's some other events that get you face to face? That's where the conversion will get better when you're pouring into people through game nights and these different other activities that you can put together. I'll pull you aside for money partners. That's a whole nother conversation. Yeah. Any other questions that I can answer? Anything else that you want to ask me before I wrap up? I didn't cover a lot of slides. I'm gonna just kind of tell you how it is and shoot from the hip and tell you my experience. Hopefully it's been helpful. Hopefully this has answered a lot of questions, giving you some ideas, some ways to grow your database, how to tag people, organize it, how to ask for referrals. You've got to think through your lead generation activities. What are you doing? I've spent a lot of time this last year into this year with our agents building out GPSs. So that's kind of your business plan. This is one thing that maybe the last thing I would share with you. So GPS, you've got your big goal, okay? And this should be kind of your one thing. Then you've got priorities. It's probably spelled wrong. And then you've got strategies, okay? So GPS, This is really your business plan that you'll build out. I would encourage you guys to sit down and think through building out a GPS. So what's your one goal this year? Commonly that's income number or it's a unit count. Okay. Priorities are going to be lead generation buckets. Okay. We commonly have at least 3. SOI, what's your other 2? Okay. So those are my priorities. The strategies are the things that you're going to do on a daily and weekly basis for each of the priorities to be able to reach those. So for my SOI, it could be, hey, I'm going to be 100% calling quarterly. I'm going to do 2 pop buys throughout this year. I'm going to participate in one of the 2 events, or I'm going to put $100 aside every month for marketing to my SOIA. I'm going to, and you want to be as measurable as you possibly can with your strategies so you can be accountable to it. You know, I'm going to add 1 person a week to my database this year. So you build this out, and then the next activity is it on your calendar? Did you put the strategies on your calendar? Do they show up? I've told our agents this year, if you could hire somebody and all you had to give them was your GPS and your calendar, are they going to be successful this year? If I looked at your GPS and then I looked at your calendar, do those things correlate? Does it have an hour or 2 on a Monday to call your DTD to? Does it have the time where you're going to reach out to your investors and lead gen for them? Does it have the time where you're going to go door knock for your open house because you want to do 2 open houses a week? Okay. Does your calendar show up in your GPS? How do those 2 things correlate? Because if you can build your calendar out to support your GPS or business plan, then you just have to execute. It's like a W-2 job. My goal is to make our agent's life like a W-2 job. Look at your calendar on a Monday. I know what I'm doing every day of the week. I know it's all time blocked. It's all broken down. I told you guys, time blocking 30 minutes to get on social media to follow people and comment. That's a lead generation activity. That's a staying in touch with people. That's pouring into your SOIA. Okay. One of your goals could be Sphere or, social media for a priority. Okay. I'm going to post 2 stories a day, 1 reel a week, and 3 posts every week. Okay. I have a metric or a standard I'm trying to follow. I'm going to follow 2 new people every day. I'm going to comment on 2 people's posts. What are your standards? What are the accountable things you can hold yourself to? And then is it in your calendar? Commonly, agents will just, you wake up and you've got this 1099 and the flexibility of being in real estate, which is awesome, but we don't have enough intentionality putting things in our calendar, slowing down planning and saying, all right, next week, I've got to get this done. I've got to put this in my calendar. I've got the consistency of lead gen from 9 to 12 every day. This is what I'm doing, and it's broken down into the different buckets. I'm following up in the afternoon. Okay. So build a calendar out that you can follow and have some confidence in. You should be able to look at your calendar, look at your GPS and say, all right, as long as I follow my calendar for 2026, I'm 100% confident I'm going to hit my goal because I believe in the plan that I've built and it's on my calendar. I just got to follow it. Okay. Any last questions? I'm going to give you guys this. You can take it. You can throw it away if you want. But this is Brivity. Our CRM has like a top 10 things to do every day. So this will give you just some additional ideas of things that you can consider when you come in to lead generate. So just another like little resource to look at. It's a little bit different than command, but it will be very similar in a lot of ways. Okay. So just another little tool to use and to think about. There's that for you. You want one? Here you go, sir. Okay, anything else before I turn it back over to Cameron? Cameron, I took too much time. I'm sorry. I went over my hour.
You're fired.
I got in trouble in school for talking too much, so I apologize. Ask. Yeah.
Like, whatever, that provides the space to create your newsletter, or do you have to create another, do you use something different to than that? So you
Yeah.
create a separate,
So Kate, our full-time marketer, will create it in Canva. She's got a template built where then she's just putting things into the template and then she's sending or emailing it out of Brivity. So we don't build it in Brivity. She builds it out of Canva. Yeah, Kimber Walton should. No. using like a separate, I mean, there's like MailChimp and a few other things that you can use that are third party. I would lean into Kimber Walton and the technology and stuff that we have and the resources we have, and there's a lot of auto smart plans that are built out already. You could just snag one of those and just create a simple process where it should, as much as you can, just use command. Don't get intertwined in building an email list out of MailChimp. I just use something to design it. Kimber probably has a couple things where it would be super, super simple, and it's the same template. So you're just going and finding a few things, putting it in there, and then emailing it out of command. So that is what I would do. I try to stay away from signing up for other things and just use what we have. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Anything else?